Hello and welcome to In Depth. I'm Aishwarya Kapoor with you. Today's program is dedicated to one of our most beloved national heroes and an icon of India's freedom struggle. We are talking about Subhas Chandra Bose, who played a very important role in the freedom struggle. He also inspired thousands to join the freedom movement against the Britishers. Netaji also served as the president of the Indian National Congress. However, following his frictions with Mahatma Gandhi and the Congress High Command, he resigned from his post. In 1942, he earned the title Netaji in Germany by the Indian soldiers of the Azad Hind Fauj and by the German and Indian officials in the Special Bureau for India in Berlin. With slogans like Dilli, chalo, mujhe, khoon, main tumhe, azadi, dunga, Netaji made a place in the hearts of Indians. As the nation celebrates his 123rd birth anniversary today, we take a look at the life and times of Netaji. The nation is paying homage to Netaji Subhas Chandra Bose on his 123rd birth anniversary today. Tributes are pouring in for the Indian freedom fighter who was known as a prominent revolutionary during the independence movement against the British rule in India. In his tribute, Prime Minister Modi said that India will always remain grateful to Netaji for his bravery and indelible contribution to resisting colonialism. On the 123rd birth anniversary of Netaji Subhas Chandra Bose, the nation is paying tribute to one of the most iconic and influential freedom fighters of India. To mark the occasion, a statue of Netaji Subhas Chandra Bose was unveiled at the Raj Bhavan in Chennai. In his message, President Ramnath Kovind described Netaji as one of India's most beloved national heroes and an icon of India's freedom struggle, adding that his courage and patriotism inspires us. Paying tributes to Netaji in a series of Twitter messages, Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu said Subhas Chandra Bose instilled patriotism among Indians. He gave the slogan Jai Hind and inspired thousands of people to take part in freedom struggle. Naidu further added that his act of hoisting the tricolour for the first time in Port Blair in 1943 and his act of declaring Andaman and Nicobar Islands as first Indian territory to be freed from British rule continues to inspire every Indian. Paying tributes to Bose on his birth anniversary, the Prime Minister said that he stood up for the progress and the well-being of his fellow Indians. The Prime Minister also shared a video message on Netaji's birth anniversary, saying that India will always remain grateful to Subhas Chandra Bose for his bravery and his contribution to the freedom struggle.
नेताजी सुभाष चंद्र बोस एक ऐसा वीर सैनिक जिसने आजादी की लड़ाई में अहम भूमिका निभाई। दिल्ली चलो, तुम मुझे खून दो, मैं तुम्हें आजादी दूंगा जैसे ओजस्वी नारों से नेताजी ने हर भारतीय के दिल में जगह बनाई। नेताजी का एक ही उद्देश्य था, एक ही मिशन था, भारत की आजादी, मां भारती को गुलामी की जंजीरों से मुक्त कराना। यही उनकी विचारधारा थी और यही उनका कर्म क्षेत्र था। अपने लक्ष्य के प्रति जिस व्यक्ति का इतना साफ विजन था, लक्ष्य को हासिल करने के लिए जो अपना सब कुछ दांव पर लगाने के लिए निकल गया हो, जो सिर्फ और सिर्फ देश के लिए समर्पित हो, ऐसे व्यक्ति को याद करने भर से ही पीढ़ी दर पीढ़ी प्रेरित हो जाती है।
In another tweet, the Prime Minister shared a photo of Subhas Chandra Bose's father's diary mentioning his birth. Home Minister Amit Shah, Defence Minister Rajnath Singh and Congress leader Rahul Gandhi were also among others who paid tributes. While people from across the country paid tributes to the iconic leader, Odisha-based sand artist Sudarshan Patnaik remembered Netaji Subhas Chandra Bose by sharing a sand art sculpture at the Puri beach. Prime Minister Narendra Modi also paid floral tributes to Bose in the Central Hall of Parliament. Various dignitaries, including Congress leader Ghulam Nabi Azad, Anand Sharma, Parliamentary Affairs Minister Prahlad Joshi, Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla were among those who paid tributes to Bose. Collection of books on and by Subhas Chandra Bose was also put on display in the Central Hall of Parliament. Netaji was born in Odisha's Cuttack city on 23rd of January 1897. His unflinching patriotism and fearlessness made him an icon of India's freedom struggle. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu on Thursday unveiled the statue of Netaji Subhas Chandra Bose at Raj Bhavan in Chennai. Describing Netaji as one of the most illustrious sons of India, the Vice President called upon the youth to take inspiration from his life and strive towards building a new India. Admiring his charismatic personality that made him a natural leader, Naidu said that Netaji was among the few leaders whose life can be a guiding light to the Indian youth. Remembering the life history of Netaji, Vice President Naidu said that Bose was deeply influenced by Swami Vivekananda's teachings and was known for his patriotic zeal. The Vice President also mentioned that Bose had passed the Indian Civil Services examination but resigned from service and devoted his life for the cause of his country's freedom.
I am really very happy and feel privileged to unveil this great statue of the great son of this great country. And today is his birthday. On the eve of the birthday of this great son, I salute him on behalf of the nation for doing whatever was possible at the time to get freedom to our motherland. Sri Subhas Chandra Bose, or Netaji, as he is fondly known as, is one of the most revered freedom fighters of India. His charismatic personality made him a natural leader, especially among the youth. Sri Subhas Chandra Bose was the son of a wealthy and a prominent Bengali lawyer. In his youth, he was deeply influenced by Swami Vivekananda's teachings and was known for his patriotic zeal. He studied at the prestigious President's College, Calcutta, from which he was expelled for nationalistic activities in 1916. He later graduated from the Scottish Churches College and went to London, where he passed the Indian Civil Service examination in 1920. However, he has resigned from the coveted service in April 1921 and hurried back to India as the struggle for independence gathered momentum. Sri Netaji Subhas Chandra Bose joined the non-cooperation movement started by Mahatma Gandhi and became a youth educator, journalist and commandant of the volunteers of Bengal.
Netaji Subhas Chandra Bose fought for freedom not only within the country but also from outside. His contribution to the national movement, from using his writings to leading the Indian National Army or the Azad Hind Fauj, Netaji was a thorn in the flesh for the British rulers. Let us now understand Netaji's contributions to the Indian freedom struggle.
Subhas Chandra Bose was that voice against the British rule which gave a new edge to the national movement. Having quit his job in London, he returned to India and jumped head-on into the freedom struggle. Netaji was made editor of the anti-British newspaper Forward by its founder Deshbandhu Chitranjan Das. As editor, Netaji was vocal about his feelings against British rule, rallying people against the English. He even spent 6 months in jail for his anti-British writings. While working for the Swarajya Party with Chitranjan Das and even after quitting the party, Netaji had many stints in prison. In 1928, donning a military uniform, Netaji led 2,000 youths in a march against the British rule in Calcutta, jolting the administration. A decade later, he was made president of the Congress Party in the party's Haripura convention. Netaji gave a call for freedom and asked the party to decide upon a date to achieve it. He also said that if the dream was not realized by the set date, he wanted to lead the party into a violent protest against the British. But Mahatma Gandhi did not agree to the plan, leading a disappointed Netaji to break away from the Congress and establish the Forward Bloc in 1939, opening a new front against the Britishers.
In fact, during the first early years of non-cooperation movement, they were actually working together and very committed to the cause of boycott and, giving up all titles and things like that. As the non-cooperation movement proceeded and as things went on, the British repression, also became intense. Gradually, Subhas Chandra Bose realized that it was impossible to work in the way that Gandhi, was doing. That was the undoing. Their relationship was very good initially, and he also won the election, and he was the president of the Indian National Congress. He won the election for the Indian National Congress, was president in 1938. Again in 1939 he was very popular, but by that time the differences had cropped up between the Congress leaders like Gandhi and Nehru and Subhas Chandra Bose.
The revolutionary Ras Bihari Bose prompted Netaji Subhas Chandra Bose to mobilize foreign help for the Indian freedom struggle. Dodging the police in Calcutta, Netaji reached Germany via Kabul. There he met Hitler, who promised to provide all possible help to Netaji in his bid to weaken the British rule. Netaji believed that it was possible to defeat the British in India only if they were attacked while they were also busy fighting the World War. For that, he formed a liberation army by liberating Indian prisoners of war that were imprisoned in Italy and Germany.
Indian National Army was formed basically in the West, that is in the European theatre of war and the African theatre of war. Netaji had gone to Germany and Austria to raise the first INA. This INA was comprised basically of prisoners of war who were taken from the British Indian Army, and the Germans were controlling them. So Netaji Subhash recruited some of them and made the Legion, Indian Legion. That was become the first INA. But then Hitler did not support him in his plans, and therefore he got disappointed, and it was decided that he should move to Japan.
In 1943, when Netaji reached Japan, he was given the responsibility of leading the Azad Hind Fauj established by Captain Mohan Singh. A year later, in February 1944, the Azad Hind Fauj attacked the British Army. Several Indian territories, including Palel and Tihim, were freed from under the British. Later that year, while giving a motivational speech to the Azad Hind Fauj, Netaji gave the now famous war cry, "Give me blood and I will give you freedom."
He made sure that people understood that any freedom, if it is achieved without sacrifice, is not valued. Therefore, he believed that people must make the sacrifice for the country. Only then will that freedom be respected and saved and, looked after for the future.
With inputs from Vipul Agarwal, Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose, the nationalist leader whose slogans "Tum mujhe khoon do, main tumhe azadi dunga" and "Jai Hind" became the war cries of the freedom movement. His revolutionary ideology led him to leave the Congress Party and work for India's independence in his own unique way by gaining international support for India's freedom struggle and trying to ally with the enemies of the British. He also formed the Azad Hind Fauj with the Japanese support and also began a war against the British rule on Indian soil.
Netaji Subhas Chandra Bose was born on 23rd of January 1897 in Cuttack in Odisha, which was then a part of Bengal province. His mother's name was Prabhavati and father was Janakinath Bose, a renowned lawyer. Bose was the 9th child among 14 siblings. Raised in a well-to-do family, he studied in the Ravenshaw Collegiate School and completed his higher studies from the Presidency College and Scottish Church College. From an early age, Subhas Chandra Bose started showing signs of being a nationalist leader. Influenced by Swami Vivekananda's teachings ever since he was a child, in 1916 Bose was expelled from the Presidency College for nationalistic activities.
Right from the childhood, he was in a British school and he was not happy with that environment because he objected to the fact that the school was teaching him British history, not Indian history. So he was an Indian at that age. He felt very much estranged with the environment. Then as he grew up and moved to Calcutta for his studies, he was again an Indian because he did not like the kind of insults that the Indian students used to have to face as in the university.
After graduation in 1990 from the Scottish Church College, Bose was sent to the University of Cambridge in England to prepare for the Indian Civil Service, a mammoth task for Indians at the time. In 1920, Subhas Chandra Bose passed the Civil Service exam, attaining the 4th position. However, as the freedom movement gathered steam in India, Subhas Chandra Bose resigned from his position in April 1921, hurried back to India and joined the Indian National Congress. Bose joined the non-cooperation movement started by Mahatma Gandhi. He started the newspaper Swaraj and took charge of publicity for the Bengal Provincial Congress Committee. He was being mentored by Chittaranjan Das. In 1923, Bose was elected the president of All India Youth Congress. In 1925, Bose was arrested and sent to prison in Mandalay. After his release from prison in 1927, Bose became General Secretary of the Congress and worked with Jawaharlal Nehru for independence. He represented the more revolutionary faction against the Gandhian non-violent one.
Subhash was right from the beginning when he came to India after his ICS resignation. He did not agree with the idea of Mahatma Gandhi that the Britishers would leave through the non-violence satyagraha. He therefore, right from the beginning said, we want to become independent. We do not want any dominion status. We don't want to be attached as a part of the Commonwealth. So we want complete independence. That was the word which the Congress used as Swaraj.
Meanwhile, support for Gandhi was increasing within the Indian National Congress. Bose also started commanding a mass following. But his revolutionary ideology created a furore among other leaders in the INC. During the mid-1930s, Bose travelled in Europe, visiting Indian students and European politicians, including Benito Mussolini. In this period, he wrote the first part of his book, The Indian Struggle, 1920 to 1934. In 1938, Bose was elected president of the Indian National Congress. By now, he had become a leader of national stature. He stood for unqualified Swaraj, including the use of force against the British, which triggered a confrontation with Mahatma Gandhi. Gandhi's opposition to Bose's presidency led to splitting of the party.
And Bose realized that the enemy has to be dealt with in their own terms. Like if they are so violent, we also need to be, replying in that manner. So that was the undoing of the relationship between Mahatma Gandhi and Bose. He failed to, understand, or he failed to go along with Gandhi because he realized that Gandhian ideology, Gandhian strategy is very docile. Non-violence is not what is the need of the hour.
On 22nd of June 1939, Bose founded the All India Forward Bloc, aimed at consolidating the political left and revolutionaries to fight for India's independence. In February 1943, Bose left for Japan, and with the Japanese influence, he formed a trained army of about 40,000 troops in Japanese-occupied Southeast Asia named Azad Hind Fauj. On 21st of October 1943, Bose proclaimed the establishment of a provincial independent Indian government. The Indian National Army alongside Japanese troops advanced to Rangoon and reached Indian soil on 18th of March 1944. An Indian tricolour modelled after that of the Indian National Congress was raised for the first time in the town of Moirang in Manipur. On 6th of July 1944, in a speech broadcast by the Azad Hind Radio from Singapore, Bose addressed Mahatma Gandhi as the father of the nation for the first time and asked for his blessings. After several months of struggle, Japanese forces were defeated and forced to retreat. Azad Hind Fauj, though, tried to continue the fight in Burma and then Indochina for some time. On 18th of August 1945, just a few days after Japan announced surrender, Subhas Chandra Bose reportedly died in a Japanese hospital in Taiwan as a result of burn injuries from a plane crash. However, many believe that he survived the crash and his death remains a mystery even today. Bose also had a daughter, Anita Bose-Pfaff, from his marriage with Emily Schenkel, an Austrian whom he married in 1937. She currently lives with her family in Germany. With inputs from Vipul Agarwal, Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And that's it from us today in depth. We will be back same time tomorrow with a focus on another key subject. You can also watch our program online on YouTube. Suggestion and feedback about the program are welcome. Thanks so much for your time. Bye-bye.